Nobody keeps their documentation current. Not you, not me, not the most disciplined operator you know. You start a project with clean docs and good intentions, and 3 weeks in, they're already behind. Because keeping them up to date by hand is a chore, and chores lose every single time. So let's say the quiet part out loud right now. Willpower is not the fix. Willpower is exactly what already failed you, and it costs you more than it looks like from the outside. When your docs fall behind, the AI is quietly working from an old version of your project. It builds with total confidence on a decision you reversed last week. It answers today's question with last month's answer, and it sounds just as sure either way. Or you give up on the docs entirely. You stop trusting them. You stop opening them. And you're back to hand-feeding the whole project to the AI every session, explaining it from scratch like it's day one. Either way, you are doing work by hand that the system should be doing for you. So here's the shift. And it is the entire point of this. You do not keep your documentation current by hand. You build a system that keeps it current for you. Set it up right, stay consistent, and documentation stops being a chore you keep losing and starts being a byproduct of the work you're already doing. You write the plan before you build the feature. You save that plan. You record the decision the moment you make it, what you chose, and the why behind it, right there on the way through. Not later, not never. Do that, and something quietly powerful happens. The documentation doesn't fall behind. It accumulates. Run that for a few weeks, and you don't have a stale brief and 3 notes you abandoned. You have a deep, current record of the entire project. Why each piece was built, how it was built, when it was built, and every meaningful call you made along the way. Picture it. 6 months from now, you ask the AI why the billing runs the way it does, and instead of guessing, it pulls up the decision you wrote the day you made it. The reasoning intact, nothing to reconstruct, nothing lost. It's just there, waiting. And once a project carries that kind of memory, it can start to maintain itself. The AI reads what's already there, keeps it in step as the work moves, and writes the next decision down without you having to ask. The documentation stops being something you maintain and becomes something the project does on its own. That, right there, is what documentation that maintains itself actually means. It isn't magic. It's a system, run consistently until it compounds. Now, let me be straight about where this sits, because it's the whole reason this course exists. Foundations taught you to write a brief and capture a few decisions for one build. And that was exactly right for the first build. But a handful of files you update by hand will not survive a real project as it grows. What Foundations didn't teach you is how to build documentation that compounds instead of falling behind. That gets richer and more accurate the longer you work, instead of staler and more useless. That's what this is. So here's the path. 4 practices, then we close it out. First, the brief as a living document, not what you wrote on day one, but the running source of truth that grows as the project grows. Then, decision records as your running memory. Every meaningful why, in plain English, in the right place, captured on the way through the work. Then, the one that changes everything, documentation engines, the pattern that gets the AI writing and updating the docs as part of every real change. So you set the rule once, and it keeps the record while you build. And we close on where this scales from here, and the honest line about what lives in premium. By the end of this, your documentation isn't a chore you keep losing to. It's a system that builds itself while you work, and a project that knows itself well enough to keep its own memory straight, so the AI walks into every session already up to speed. We start where it all hangs together. The brief. In Foundations, you wrote one for the first build, and it was right for that build. It is not the brief your project needs at week 3. The brief has to grow with the project, and the AI has to know how to grow it. That's where we start. I'll see you there.